Welcome to Your Time to Thrive with personal fitness coach Jason Stevenson.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Your Time to Thrive with health and wellness coach Jason Stevenson. Jay, I feel like it's been forever. How are you, man?
I'm doing great, Ben. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing well, thank you.
It has been a couple of weeks. It's been a crazy couple of weeks, though.
It has definitely been an insane couple of weeks.
You guys raised how much money last Wednesday? You were at a fundraiser.
So I was not at a fundraiser. I was at a press conference to raise $50,000. So the goal is to raise $50,000 for the Rhode Island Military Family Relief Fund,
Awesome.
which is through the Lieutenant Governor's office, and Blue Star Moms is also doing Operation Holiday Cheer. So those were the two causes for that. Which are awesome, and I'll put a link to that in the description of this episode.
Please.
But yeah, so the goal is to reach $50,000 by the end of the year to donate to the Military Family Relief Fund in Rhode Island to help out the families of veterans and the families of active military who are here struggling as well. So that is it's a great cause, and I'm happy to be a small part of that. So that's what we were doing last week. Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's honestly, there's real life, and then there's excuses. That's real life, and that's an amazing reason. Please put the link at the bottom here so that people can follow through with that.
I will.
I'll donate.
I'm gonna text right now. You get that link?
I feel like that's one of the pieces that people have found outlets for right now, because after being home for so long, and not that we weren't living in our social media worlds and on our computers before all of this happened, but I feel like it's a great opportunity for our country and our world in its entirety to connect that way, to connect those that have a little bit more than others with those that don't, or those that need it. There are people that are starving in our country. There are people that are on the streets that are in our country. There are people that are starving and on the streets that served our country in this country. And the fact that that's not a priority for our society right now is it's embarrassing. So commendable, sir. Please keep me in the loop on that. I want to know what we can do if I can get involved in that.
Absolutely. I will definitely do that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, please.
So today, what are we talking about?
Today, we're talking about fitness and everything that relates to your health and wellness.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I know. That surprises you. I try to send you as many curveballs as I can per session. But today is about connecting the dots, because that's really what all of this is about. And it's going to allow us to pull from a couple of different conversations in the past. But as is most of the topics that we discuss here, this comes from my day-to-day and trying to help people, because that's what I'm super grateful for, the opportunity to be able to do on a daily basis, help people. And the biggest challenge for most people that I deal with is literally connecting everything. It's the analogy is always the easiest way for me to talk about this. And it's like if you had a chair or a table that had a certain number of legs and you tried to make that table. Thank you. That's a great idea.
Oh, you're welcome. And I'm putting it in the comments as well.
Yeah, perfect.
Right.
If you have that structure, whatever that chair, table, stool is, and you remove one of those legs, that's not going to function the way you want it to. And that's often what happens, whether we're at the beginning stages of our fitness path or we're in the middle of it. Nobody's at the end of it, obviously. But wherever you are in your journey, as far as implementing strategies and habits and lifestyle choices, it's really important to maintain focus on everything. Especially in our trying world and our challenging schedule systems nowadays, that we find that we are full of things to do. I find that people focus more on just one thing at a time. It's like, okay, I can just get my workouts in this week, or I can just get my food down, or I'm going to focus on just my water right now, which ultimately in processing your actual habit changes, that's not a bad idea. But you can't forget about all the other steps and all the other pieces and all the other things that worked, or all the other things that you're working on. You know,
Right.
if you're spinning plates and you're juggling your whatever you're juggling in the air, you can't just focus on one thing. You have to pay attention to everything. And I know that sounds like a lot, but the truth is, for my people, I would rather you spend 10%. Well, let's break it up evenly here. So we do our food, we do our fitness, and we do our rest, right? So even if you just have 3 aspects to your overall health and wellness, you need to spend 33% of your energy on each one of those. I'd rather you spend 33% of your energy on each one of those than 100% of your energy on one and then be completely negating the other. It's just not going to work. You're going to get further faster by spreading out your attention and by giving everything ample attention than you would by just focusing on the gym. Because, you know, they say you can't outrun a bad diet. You know, you can't fix your fitness just by eating healthy, because then you end up with not having the strength for your system to be able to maintain your quality of life and longevity.
Yeah.
But it really is, for me, as I've done this for so many years, that like we can learn about pieces and we can get better at fitness, or we can get better at form, or we can get better at our food. But if you're not connecting the dots, if you're not focused on everything, you're not going to get where you want to. And then people get upset. You know, they get frustrated. Like, that's why the diet pills don't work. You could take a diet pill and you're going to lose weight. But if you're not exercising and then working on your food choices, it's not going to work.
Right. Yeah.
What in your experience, Ben, because I trust you as a friend and as somebody that I've worked with for years to be frank with me about this, what for you has been the hardest part of connecting the dots? Like, what do you think gets in the way the most?
Myself.
Honest.
In general, yeah, myself in general, getting in my own way. I think so. I think consistency is where I really personally like mess up a lot. And so yeah, balancing all 3 things are you tend to hyper focus on one for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you realize that you're not paying attention to the other, and then you hyper focus on that one, and then you go, oh shit, what am I doing? And then you go back and you try to do that one. And yeah, so I think that like having an actionable plan to maintain all 3 things or to focus on all 3 things is the goal, right? And that's like that's the step that makes sense as to what to do next. And I've had those plans, and then you wake up in the morning and there's 5 other things going on, and then two or all 3 of those things go out the window. And so it's I realize that having an actionable plan to maintain those 3 facets is important. And I often have the intentions for those 3, but then they don't always come through. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. And I appreciate the candor and the honesty. I expect nothing less from us, but the reality is that's a very common thing. I would say that most of my clients struggle with that. They struggle with finding that balance. I mean, I do, but nobody's perfect. I don't expect you to be perfect. I don't expect you to hit home runs every week. But this is what we've talked about for a long time as far as our process here, right? Like, what are the small steps? What can I nail? What can I know I can drink at least one of these a day, right? I know I can drink at least one of these a day. If I'm currently drinking one of these a day, can I drink one of these a day and 1 glass of water? Right? I feel like everybody tries to take on so much. Like, Like we have to be busy. We have to have a full life. We can't say no to things, that we have to do 100% of my food prep. And I'm going to get to the gym 6 days a week. This is what we talked about last time as far as the repeatable habits. If you can't do your food prep every week, that's okay. But can you plan your food every week? Can you conceptualize it? Like, I'm just going to eat what's in the fridge and freezer this week. Okay, that's good, but it's still smart choices. It's not just throw it out the window. I'm going to grab Burger King every day this week because I didn't feel like cooking and I didn't have time. I wasn't home this weekend. I can't do my food prep. So we don't throw that out the window. What can you do? Can you eat smart this week still? Absolutely. Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that the point?
That is.
So what are you hitting right now? I'm putting you on the spot today, buddy. We haven't talked in a while.
What
are you doing that you would give yourself a positive grade for right now?
Oh,
your
nothing.
goal plans? Nothing. Benjamin Barber.
I would give myself a positive grade on nothing. No,
something.
I don't. Yeah. So I think I don't know. Like I need to. There's a there's a line in Hamilton that that everybody quotes and loves from the Aaron Burr song "Wait for It," and the line is, "I am the one thing in life I can't control," and I have jokingly to Dave and Allie sang that song, "I am the one thing in life I can't control," and as a joke, but it's true. Like that's I I think that for me, the biggest thing stopping me from connecting the dots, there you go, because I know intellectually how to do everything, right?
Yeah.
It's the self-control aspect of all of this is the part that that I have an 80-yard punt situation and then fall at the 10-yard line. That's it's a self-control thing. It's stopping, it's needing the circumstances to all be perfect for me to do the thing that I need to, you know what I mean? Otherwise, like if it's anything that I really care about, like I get in my head and I mess it up constantly.
We all do.
And that's food wise, exercise wise, mental health wise, relationship wise, like the minute I get in my head, like it's all over.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah. So what tool are you currently using to fight that? What has worked in the past?
I really like morning pages. I was having a conversation last night at like 2 a.m. about how great writing down your thoughts first thing in the morning is. That has really helped. I really like getting up early. When I get up early, I'm more productive, and I have the time in the morning to do those things. Unfortunately, I've been going to bed at the time that I want to be waking up at. So
how's that working?
Horrible. It's as bad as you'd think.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's but that's where I'm at right now as far as like I think it's, I have a good action plan. It's getting up in the morning and executing on the action plan that I find difficult to connect the dots, because I feel like the dots are connected and I'm just going on a parallel line anyway. Does that make sense?
Yes. We need to connect the dots to your path.
Yeah.
To your choices.
I just need to get back over into that groove.
Yeah.
It's
a single step.
Yeah.
Why does it feel so insurmountable?
I don't know. I don't know. And, I have, it's weird too, because I've had situations where, like, you know, um you feel defeated, like there's no point and stuff, but then you do see the progress that you've made, and that's encouraging. But then you still, that doesn't change the, like, deep-seated feel of, like, impossibility or defeatism, you know?
Of course not, because that's a demon. That's a self-doubt. That's your devil. That devil's never going to shut up. You get to decide whether you listen to him or not.
Right.
You know what I mean? We've had this conversation about that devil angel conversation before, right? Because this is one of the things that I try to teach people, that you are always going to hear that. I had a good friend of mine say that to me once. How can I stop the voices in my head? And you can't. They're in your head already. Those are simply stimuli responsive from everything that you've ever done that you wanted to or didn't want to, or that happened to you in your past, that is firing electronic impulses in your brain that are just there. They're tire tracks that were created in the path of your past, of your memories. And the truth is, none of that is real. You know how they say that the present moment is all that exists, because as soon as you're aware of the present moment, it's already in the past, and that your total reality is based on that moment in which you're in. And if you spend time focusing on where you were, you're never going to enjoy the moment. And if you focus too much on the future, then you're never going to be present enough in the moment to actually create that future. So there's that balancing act. But the trick is to recognize that your brain is doing that as well, that your brain is firing off a very warped version of whatever happened in the past and creating a new narrative for you to listen to. And not just you, we all do this. The proof in the pudding for me is that if I were to tell a story to somebody and they told it to one other person, that version of the story is totally different than what I said. That might be 100% different, but it's definitely going to be different because that person's perspective of the situation changed. Or if two people are in the same room and experience the same situation, their versions of that situation, when recounted to another individual, are completely different. They've talked about this for years, that eyewitness accounts of crime and accident scenes are skewed beyond belief. Guy had a red shirt on, guy had a beard, guy had a hat, guy was walking, guy was driving a car. Like there are major differences that would blow your mind that the two people were explaining the same thing. So if that's possible, that two people experienced the same exact situation and remembered it differently, how do you think your brain remembers things? And then repeatedly remembers things. Even if you think you have a good memory of a specific situation, your true memory of that total situation is completely skewed from the reality because it's got all these emotions connected to it that you just experienced for the last umpteenth number of years since you experienced that original situation.
Right. So I have two versions of that. Number one, when I was a child, I was visiting my uncle's house on a lake in North Carolina, and I was coming up from the lake to the little lake house there, and I looked down and I saw a snake, and I screamed. I was like 9 or 10, and I screamed and I ran up. And my uncle's brother-in-law on the other side ran down with my uncle and my dad, and they found the snake and they chopped its head off. And they were like, "What color was it?" And I was like, "It was blue. It was blue. It was a copperhead. It was a copperhead." And they were like, "You must have been really scared because that." And then a couple years ago, I was taking my mom home from a doctor's appointment in Westerly, and I was pulling out of the road that the hospital's on, and I had a green light, and I went right, and somebody, a big old truck, didn't stop and sideswiped us. And when the insurance company called me and asked where it happened, and like if I saw anything around, I said there was a fire. What is it called?
Hydrant.
Fire hydrant. There was a fire hydrant. There was a fire hydrant right there, and she was because I was standing outside of my car for like an hour afterwards. So I was like, "There was a fire hydrant," and she was like, "There was a fire hydrant." A fire hydrant's like 500 feet from the intersection, and I was like, "Oh." So then it became my fault, right? Because I misremembered the situation
Yeah.
wrong. I had to pay for both of our cars, even though he ran a red light. It was his word versus my word, and
Yeah.
in my memory, because I was freaking out about it, I thought that we were right next to the fire hydrant. And the fire hydrant, if you are in Westerly, you can check it out. The
Yeah.
fire hydrant is about 500 feet from that intersection, and because I misremembered, uh, and because the traumatic thing happened to me, right? Like
Right.
I got
Got
side
hit.
flipped.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's traumatic for him, but like, he's on a straightaway and he tried to run through a red light and whatever. But it was traumatic for me, and I messed up the surroundings.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, you can definitely like miss the forest for the trees
So if
in
that's
stressful situations.
absolutely, and we're under stress all the time, whether it's real stress
Maybe
or it's
maybe
created
you
stress.
are.
Try not to be. That if that is all true, right? If we can accept that our brain can do that in real situations that we have clarity on, what do you think it's doing to your perspective on a daily basis? What do you think it's doing to you when you're trying to follow your path, when you're trying to stay on your goal sets?
I think that it gives you a warped perception of failure. Yep. So, I mean, I guess a good example of that for me would be, I, you know, uh, for the last 7 or 8 years have been working with you and Glenn as trainers, and kind of felt like I hadn't accomplished anything. Right? Like I for sure feel like I have not accomplished anything in that time frame.
Yeah.
And I had a lot to go, and I still do, but I had a lot to do there, and I really didn't feel like I was connecting the dots at all on any of it. I feel like especially like, I have a best friend who had a weight loss journey that started after mine and was far more successful visually, and that was frustrating because I was like, I don't see it. Like, I don't see the results for myself, because I just look at myself every day and feel the same bad stuff every day about it. But I was looking through old screenshots the other day to try to delete stuff in my phone, and I found one from right before I started with you guys. And I had taken a photo a couple days ago, and I was like, I'm just gonna put these next to each other and see how they are. And
Crazy cool.
yeah, I have it actually.
Pull it up. Put it
I
on there. Crazy awesome, Ben. I'm so glad you brought this up.
So yeah,
Right?
so the guy on the left is 2011 or 12, and then the guy on the right is me last week.
Right? Look at that.
So,
Put
yeah,
that
but,
on your mirror. Put that in your bathroom, dude. Look at that every day.
it's it does make you realize that maybe you are doing some things right, for sure. But and if you're listening to this for whatever reason later, you can check it out on Facebook, and YouTube. But yeah, so that's I don't know.
That's
I'm excited to keep changing the picture on the right now.
I love the perspective, man. Today's session's about connecting the dots. Remember that you have connected dots. Everybody has. We tend to focus on what we haven't, or what we don't have, or what we want, or what somebody else has. The biggest piece for me when I've helped people try to reconnect those dots is realizing what dots they already have connected and what dots they're actually keeping connected. Because you can go through a week of doing terrible and not working out and eating off your plan, but you can reset and then go back on. That means that those have been connected. Those are habits. Those are things that you know how to reset to. Like you said, you have your plan laid out. You know exactly what you want to do. You're going to have good weeks and bad weeks. You're going to have days where you just eat whatever the hell you want to, and days where you don't exercise. That's normal. We want those to be limited or to be reduced in frequency as we process, right? Like as our lifestyle changes and our habits change, then our consistency with ordering the salad instead of the French fries, or drinking more water than packaged and processed and sugar drinks. But nobody's perfect. Recognize where you've been. Look back, because as soon as if you're on a hike and you're just walking forward and you're like, wow, I don't know how far I've come, because you're just looking at the ground in front of you and looking at the scenery around you. Wouldn't you turn around and see how far you have to go back, or see how far you've come on it, or you track it on like Map My Run or something? You can realize what distance you've covered. We have all covered a great distance. We've all connected dots. If you're still feeling like you're struggling and you haven't kept that path as clean as you want to, then that's a new dot for you. Your consistency is a huge dot. Like, can you carry that path? Because anybody can diet for 30 days. Anybody can work out for 30 days. That's not the question. The question is, can you do this? Can you do this lifestyle? Can you continue to change the picture? Can you keep changing the narrative? Right? Can you hear that conversation when that little devil talks on your shoulder and the other angel says some bullshit response to it? Can you recognize that you're neither of them? You are neither of them. You are listening to the conversation, and you don't have to listen. You can change the channel. You can shut the door. You can just turn it down and listen to something louder. Listen to your true self. Your true self is the one that says, hey, I've done great and I'm going to do better. That's all I got. That's all I got. It's reality, dude.
I think I was just thinking about this, and this might be the dumbest thing I've ever said. I think that like we see things on like a 2D plane, right? So when we are trying to connect our dots, we look ahead of us and we see the dots that aren't connected yet. Mm-hmm. And we look behind us and we see a line, and we forget that they were dots. And you know what I mean? And it's not until you are able to take the view from 10,000 feet above that you're able to go, oh yeah, there are all of these dots behind me that I have connected, and maybe the road ahead isn't that scary.
Damn right. That's why I love journey is the destination, because that's truly what it is.
Where can people find you, Jason?
They can find me on thrivetrainingteam.com. Easiest website access. Shoot me an email. Find the links to the social media stuff or weekly workouts of the day and motivational information, or just stay in tune and keep listening to the podcast. Whatever works best for you. And don't forget to donate to the Rhode Island Military Family Relief Fund.
Yes.
Links are connected.
If everybody just gave $5 or $10, we would be able to do this in a couple days to raise this $50,000.
If you're listening and you're not in Rhode Island, there is definitely a fund like this and a community of people in your state. Look it up. Reach out to those people out there that need our help, because we can do this as a community.
Absolutely.
We are all on the same boat. Thank you, sir. You have a great day today. Everybody be safe out there. Have a great and healthy day.
You too.
We'll see you soon, folks. Bye.
For more information, tips, and workouts of the day, check out thrivetrainingteam.com.